Let me share with you what's happening on campuses, not only in the high schools, in the very early education of kids, starting from elementary school up to junior high and high school. There, they're being presented with sex ed, and they're being presented with anti-moral type of values. If we feel sincerely about our fellow non-Muslims, and we would like to reach out to them, we're going to have to do something about sex education. That is my agenda for you. I'm saying that in Muslim countries, in typically Muslim countries, to save their kids, there was a proposal by Muslims at the very top level that there should be an Islamic sex education course that should be proposed. And see, one organization is not going to do that. It's going to have to be many, many other organizations. The whole list that the brother has gone through, none of them had that as an option. And none of them had the vision of changing academia, because that is where people get their learning. So our fellow Christians have already proposed Christian sex education courses. Our fellow Muslims have not done the same. Now I'm proposing to you, as you see on my outline here, there is a threat to morality, and we're going to have to move. The Islamic sex education alternative for Muslims and non-Muslims will teach them good spirituality and good morality. And it is not restricting in any way of their freedoms. It is not going to be imposed on them, but at least they'll have an alternative there, and they're not forced into the secularized sex ed curriculum, or the Christian for that matter, since there is freedom of worship and freedom of choice. Have we given anybody any other alternative or option? No. So that is the way to do a sex ed course. First, you have to teach them ahkam al-bulugh, and that is, what do kids in puberty do? And that has to be done in a polite language, because in the secular culture, they use the lousiest and the dirtiest, and I'm sorry to say, the very lowest type of language, which has turned our kids into little perverts. Actually, this is happening, because the gay culture is permeating the society to a very dangerous extent. They do have little books that say, Heather has two dads, or no, my daddy's roommate. These little books are being given to elementary school kids to teach them that gay is okay. And of course, you as a Muslim is going to have to do something about that. You can't just stand there still. So you have to teach them ahkam al-bulugh. You have to teach them Islamic etiquette. Now, we as Muslims don't date, and I know that very staunch Christians don't object to that, and they were there on my radio show also. I interviewed them. They have no problem at all with dating. And I say, okay, my dear sister, do you believe that you believe in motherhood? She said, yeah, I believe that motherhood is very essential, and I think women should not go out of the home and do work or get engaged in jobs and leave their kids at home. Okay, and do you believe in dating? And she says, yes. Now, there's this extremism. Well, what if you have good motherhood, or you're there physically, but you're not able to guide your kids? So what we need is not to keep being on the defensive, but actually what you need to do is teach your kids how to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. That is implementing the Sharia. And what you're doing is giving the kids some kind of polite attitude to adopt, instead of just, if you go to any school now, my goodness, if you go to any high school, I take my kid to school back and forth, and I see it's like a zoo. It's like a zoo. You enter any high school and you're in shock. Not only because of drug addiction, but also of all those new fashions and fads that they keep picking up culturally. And they dye their hairs purple and green and blue and yellow and all kinds. And you see the type of nails that they wear. And actually, they would do things in front of you that you would never have believed could be done on a school campus, in front of your own kids and in front of their own eyes. So you cannot just stand still and watch that. You need to teach them virtue and purity. You need to teach them how to form a family. See, how to form a family. When a kid comes here, he thinks that he has all those pressures around him, and he sees the peer pressure, and he sees that he has to conform to this type of attitude in order to be accepted on a high school campus. But you have to give that kid an option. Tell them, okay, although you are going to see all of those things, in Islam, there is a reason for forming a family. And all your love and all your attention and whatever emotions you have should be crystallized and kept and energized in this family, or the incubator of, which is the incubator of society. You have responsibilities towards your children. You're not going to let these kids be lost in society because it's taking too long. We are watching for too long. And I think the gays and the lesbians are very, very aggressive about it. And they actually tap every media venue to do that. You cannot avoid them. While our muhajjaba sisters in hijab can walk around and be harassed, they can be discriminated against, their hijabs can be picked at, they can be fired from their jobs, they have to go to care and complain. You cannot in any classroom, and I challenge you, say anything negatively about the gays and the lesbians. In any classroom, if you're teaching on campus, there's no way you can do that. Now also they impose on you gay and lesbian teachers, and our kids are there receiving that kind of information from these quote-unquote role models. Who is your teacher? At the same time, when immigrants come to this country, they don't know that they have to give a lot of love and attention and care to the kids so that they won't seek love and care and attention outside of the home. This is normal. If you don't have security in the home, if you don't have moral values in the home, if you don't have love and spiritual attention, if you don't pray with your family and teach your kids that you're the leader here, and when you come to pray, call the whole family, come kids, let's go pray together, to stay together, they're going to go out there and get the love from someone else. And this is happening. This is happening. And I just don't want to scandalize a lot of people that I so love and used to admire. But they're hot shots in dawah, and their kids are having now abortions. You see how dangerous that is?